Good morning or afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you, Free Enterprise fans. We have a nice little Sunday matinee for you here in the Golem group between Antidale and Eykir. Up here in the booth, we got Neobari handling the restream, Smapedy pushing those tracking buttons. I'm Invenerable, and joining me on comms is Vitasia. Vitasia, how's your Sunday going?
You know what? It's a great day for free enterprise. Waking up, get a little bit of early brunch, and then free enterprise for the rest of the day. It feels like it's going to be a good Sunday. How about yourself, Invent?
Oh yeah. Looking forward to seeing some more matches from this group. We've only gotten the one so far. Annadelle and Smapedy played already, and just the group's not really. People had life stuff going on. The format did enable people to push these back towards the end of the third week if they needed to, and we're gonna get some good gameplay out of these two. What you thinking about the objectives today?
Well, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. They're all kind of locked behind those key items, so we don't have anything free kind of right away. So we have our shopping list that we have to go for. I really like that we have unsale our complete cave Magnus, so we're probably going to get music for the memes. And unlock sealed cave is always interesting to see, especially with this flag set. Most of the time, we just completely ignore the sealed cave if we can possibly avoid it because we do have the warp glitch enabled. So seeing that there, is a reminder to us that yes, this place does still exist.
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be a really good match. Eykir has been playing Free Enterprise since got into the community races right after Zima Zone 1 started 2 years ago. And Annadelle came onto the scene about a year ago with the Hummingway Open and made it to the uh, bracket stage of the Bull Gauntlet. So has had some, been building up that success over the last year, and is the basically the reigning jump king with the April Fool's flags that have become rather spicy over the last few months. But seeing how these runners have developed over the last year or two, I'm sure it'll be a great match. And we have a Dark Knight Cecil start, so I'm sure they're very happy we have those free characters enabled.
No, absolutely. And this Golem group in its entirety, Antidale, Porsyth, Eykir, and Smapedy, there was a lot of chatter in the groups that this was one of, if not the toughest of the groups that when they were all kind of shuffled off. Some people were saying Odin group, Golem group is right up there with it. So all of these runners are very, very good in this particular group. So every win counts here. Antidale already has one win. Eykir starting fresh. We'll see who comes out on top here.
Yeah, and of course, everyone wants to get that coveted 3-0 to skip the next phase. You don't have to go down the magma route. You don't have to go down the hook route. You go straight to the table. And we have the OTP start. We got a Rosa to pair with our Cecil. Got an Asura at the Bygone spot, handing out a Rat Tail. Can't do much with that unless we get a hook. But yeah, love to see a Rosa in pretty much any flag set.
Yeah, Rosa just kind of puts the rest of the game a little bit on easy mode. She's the only healer that really has decent HP, you know, uh, leveling as you're going, so you can hit that 2K mark, so you can take unnerfed big bangs if you get to that point. Cecil, man, we'll see what kind of weaponry we end up getting with him. Some people end up ditching him if they can't find a decent sword early on, and then, as the meme goes, inevitably finds a crystal sword immediately after you ditch him.
Yeah, we do have that C buy flag on, so if you ditch him, you're not getting him back. So you have to kind of accept the risk of disappointment if you decide to ditch all your Cecils, which is a thing. We do have vanilla agility anchoring on. Cecil will be your anchor if he is in your team. If there are two of them, it'll go down the vanilla agility order. Middle, top, middle, bottom, middle. So if you can find a second one, maybe. Annadelle here going ahead and grabbing a second white mage. We got to pour him in watery pass and continuing to loot, hoping to find something spicy here. Have you played these? I mean, of course you have. How are you liking the T Wildish flag, Batasia? What are some of the empty waterfall? What are some of the favorite things you found?
I mean, Empty Waterfall is always spicy. And T Wildish, I've always, it's a really, T Wildish is so much fun because it really does force you to go into some out of the way locations. Everyone loots Antlion as much as you can because you already have to go there. But having to do things like Watery Pass, the weighting that is given to things like the Earth Crystal treasure room is just fantastic. So it kind of prioritizes you. I'm one of those people who likes to open every treasure chest. I'm a completionist at heart, not a speedrunner. So not being able to open every chest always hurts me, but this lets me prioritize a little bit better in terms of what I'm going to open.
Seeing a few more characters here, we have not one Yang, but two Yangs in Mysidia, so not getting really any early game DPS from those two. And Annadelle peaks at the Kaipo bed. That was a ponytail on the right side, I believe, which means a left-handed spellcaster. That's a Palom behind the Sand Ruby.
That'd be nice to have at some point, but we're leaning towards kind of a melee heavy group. We have a Cecil and two Yongs. Um, we already have the superior white mage Rosa, so unless something else shakes out, I anticipate ditching that Porum relatively quickly. But the seed's still young. We don't know what's going to end up happening. What other characters are going to roll up? We haven't seen Damsian. We haven't seen Mount Hobbs yet, which are other popular choices early on. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, and Annadelle here showing the so many people are fond of checking the first room of Watery Pass and then flying and checking the last room. Annadelle here showing the risk that sometimes carries with that reward. We had an empty waterfall. We had only one chest in the back, and then 40 gold in the one right next door. Not a lot of value in Watery Pass today. But that's the chance you take when only 60% of chests are filled. If you're going to these places that have higher loot chance but lower density of items, if you low roll on your loot table, well, you're not finding the goods.
We did end up picking a Dragon Whip up, which I don't necessarily anticipate picking up Iridia. Oh, hey, you wanted a Porum or a Palom?
Hey, that's fantastic. We do finally have a little bit of decent damage online. The twins do, of course, get access to their vanilla ability, Twin Magic. You can cast Flare or Comet, and both of those are pretty good DPS, given that we don't have tier 2 spells on Palom yet, and we don't have anyone who can equip, the big hit and sticks yet. So this should be able to be enough to get through Antline Cave, as long as there aren't some particularly rude bosses there. But oh, the loot! Where's all the treasure, Vitasia? Where's it gone?
You know how I said earlier that I really like opening treasure chests? What I did is just took it all and gave them nothing but empty treasure chests. Um, that's where all the treasure is. I'm sorry.
And chat rightly pointing out, we do have an archer bow. It's not the dream. It's not one of the big 3 bows. But Rosa does have the aim command, so as long as you don't leave her in the middle spot, you can guarantee a full hit rate. And Artemis arrows are the strongest arrows in the game, and if we have a dragon type enemy, we're going to get to do quadruple damage. So that is a great source of damage if you're willing to burn those arrows early. And we find a cursed ring here. That's so convenient. You don't have to go checking every armor shop in the game trying to find one now.
Yeah, that is absolutely nice. Obviously, a great thing to put on Cecil so you can overlevel him quite a bit. Antidale still has his Cecil, has not gone to Mysidia yet. Eykir actually ditched his Cecil in favor of picking up that Palom so he can keep the twins with his white mages and everything else he has going on. So a little bit more of a caster heavy party now for Eykir, if you count punch mages as a thing.
Yeah, we got some real good divergence going on. First fight here is the Baron Guards. A little annoying, they do counter physical attacks with Mini and normal spell casting with Picky to prevent you from casting. But so many enemies in this game don't actually treat Twin Magic as normal spell casting. So you can get away with it and bypass a lot of reaction scripts.
And that first battle is so important for getting your Paloms online. One fight, that's all it takes. And he gains a level and learns Ice too, which is just such an upgrade. Hey, a Sand Ruby! We know where we can use that.
Hey, if you want more Palom, and who doesn't? This is a flag set where you can find sirens in gated shops most of the time, and it doesn't take an awful lot of yellow dragon eggs to get Quake.
Absolutely. The value of Palom. He's nicknamed Quake Mage for a reason. Quake Kid or Quake insert other honorific, whatever you'd like.
Quake-kun! Quake-kun! Also, I am digging Antidale's naming scheme here, naming particular characters references to old Mitch Hedberg bits. He's got spaghetti and blankets! Anyway, that's an inside joke for all people who knew a particular stand-up comedian in the early aughts. We throwing it back here this morning. It's early, Vitasia. I'm sorry.
I'll concede that point. It's early. We do have Antidale going to check Hobbs. It looks like Eykir is actually bypassing. He likes his party the way it's at. And that was that another Palom?
I mean, more Paloms. More! All of them.
The interesting thing to note, and I didn't know this until I kind of played around with it, and is you can have two Paloms and they can cast Twin too. It just takes two of the twins. That's all. Like, have fun, load up on twins, have everyone cast Twin.
Getting our first peek here at the Fabul Gauntlet location. Ugh, Mom Bomb. Very annoying fight. Not because of it being particularly dangerous for the team, but just it's so slow. You have to chew through the first batch of HP, and if you don't have enough DPS to just shout out roughly another 10,000, you are dealing with the explode and then all the baby bombs, and it can be troublesome at some spots in the game, but here it's just an added annoyance.
True. I don't know if there's really another option to really go at this point. I mean, we might still be able to do some shopping around, see what's going on, but really, the way the seed is shaken out and the way the character progression has been going, I would be personally uncomfortable doing anything beyond coming here to Fabul right now. And both runners are here in Fabul. Ordeals might be a little bit out of the way. You know, maybe you hope to get lucky and there's an edge there. But it feels like this is kind of the natural progression of where the seed wants us to go.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to get a few more levels here. You want to get your Cure 2s on both your White Mages. You want to get all your Tier 2 elemental spells on your Palom or Palums, as it were. So yeah, it is a little sad that we don't get full XP from this spot, but every little bit counts, and we're getting there. We're getting those mages online slowly but surely.
Alright, Antidale sees the explode, is waiting for the bombs, survives everything. Yep, let's get that ice 2 rolling.
And takes out the normal bombs. The gray bomb's still standing. And 2 of them now in the front row. Oh, okay. Luckily, managing to whiff. Not really any trouble here. even the swing from Dark Knight Cecil enough to finish one off after that ice 2.
He might be overkill. Oh, and the twin failed because a strategic shot to...
That board face AI, twin magic, I don't think so. Get out of here with that.
Board face, you're a genius if you can actually like get them to snipe people like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and twin cast goes off so fast in this version. That's one reason this is built in the 1.1 version instead of the 1.0 version of Final Fantasy IV US. And that's because the twin cast in the original is a little more delayed, and that allows you to do certain glitches and exploits to things like throw trash cans and carrots at your foes. Here, in the 1.1 version, it goes off so fast that it's really impressive that the bomb got the snipe there. But how about that Earth Crystal?
You know, we were just talking a little bit about that. You know, in these T Wildish flags, that Earth Crystal treasure room really is like a key source for a lot of amazing gear that you can possibly get. So seeing this early with kind of the party that we have, man, if I'm these runners, I'm making a beeline to Troyan now.
Oh yeah. It will definitely also inform what kind of party you want to build. It may cause, Eykir a little bit of regret if we get some holy swords. Annadelle may be very glad that he kept the Dark Knight Cecil around. Or, we could see a whole bunch of spears that do us no good with the current loadout. But Zod also gives us access to two more characters, so if we do get a lot of really good loot here for people we don't have, maybe we see uh, probably not an immediate tower climb. It can be a little dicey up there, but probably pretty soon.
Antidale is saying, "Yeah, I'm not even checking these other, garbage treasure rooms that are over here. Give me the good stuff. Uncut, unfiltered. Stardust Rod Life Staff. Well, hello, two Stardust Rods.
Staff So we got the best white mage staff, one of the tied for second best white mage staffs, and double Stardust Rod. And we have a Palom in the Sand Ruby bed and another one on Hobbs.
I think the scene
I
is
give
trying
that
to
a 10
tell
out of 10.
Yeah.
I normally I reserve 10 out of 10 for things like crystal swords and everything, but if I have the black mages and there are two Stardust Rods and a life, yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm giving that one full marks.
Two Stardust Rods, two of the best, wisdom staves as we can. And by the way, we have the characters to equip them all. Yeah, this seed is just lining up perfectly.
Yeah, and our tracker Smapety pointing out in chat that the fact there were no big paladin weapons does make Eykir's party composition a little better here, probably. As far as Cecil weapons, we did see ogre axes for sell up in Fabul, so that's a decent weapon for him. And of underground in gated shops, you can probably find up more Palom. You can find up to lightsabers for sale, which are pretty decent. 99 damage, 99 attack power, 99% accuracy. But seriously, let's just cast spells. That seems like a fun time to me, right?
I feel like the Oprah meme right now. You get a Palom. You get a Palom. All Paloms.
Billy Mays here for Paloms. Do you like to have the best black mage in the game? But wait, there's more. Call now and we'll include a Stardust Rod with each Quack Kid free of purchase.
Oh my goodness. And so we do Antidale is climbing Mount Ordeals. We have a Bahamut fight at this first spot. Shouldn't be too difficult. We got two black mages plus two white mages. Yeah, this should be relatively straightforward for Antidale.
Yeah, the only thing I'm curious about is how low Bahamut gets to count here before dying. I'm gonna say Bahamut gets off the 3 and then dies. I'm going with 3.
He gets as low as 2, honestly. I'm curious. We did see some Artemis arrows at some point, which don't they do extra damage to dragons?
They do, but strangely enough, Bahamut doesn't count as a dragon. The Mist Dragon does not count as a dragon. And the D Machine is not a machine.
Where, please?
The taxonomy of Final Fantasy IV is full of surprises. Eykir finding the Thunderclaw, the best claw in the game. Keep your cat claws, I don't care. Thunderclaw, best claw.
I mean, sure. All right, so Antidale is safety saving. Gonna get a tent rolling. Eykir likely heading over that direction. Antidale's sticking with his Cecil. I don't necessarily blame him. All things said, because crystal swords can come out of nowhere.
And then also with our objectives, that Forge Legend Sword with Adamant is always an option, and it does give you an Excalibur on the slag set. It doesn't leave you empty-handed like if you do other particular Forge settings. So there's always the possibility, and Antidale has left really good options for anchors lying around. The base level Paloms that he's left in other places, fantastic endgame anchors. Quack Kid may be mighty, but he is very slow. And also we have a curse ring, so if Antidale ends up finding nothing really good enough to keep a Paladin Cecil around, no problem. But for now, even just having the cover ability to keep all my mages nice and healthy, who needs damage when you can just tank?
True. Eykir is actually dodging ordeals right now. He finds a Sid in Baron that I don't know if we saw yet, and he's like, okay, well let's try this spot. He's also got the equipment out of it, and a rude Ogopogo.
Hey, that Luca key. You mentioned that we don't like to have to worry about the Luca key. We usually just warp glitch on this flag set. I was hoping that it would end up being gated by something weird on the moon. No, it's just here at Ordeals, which means that if Eykir's big strategy here is try to avoid Ordeals, may end up having a bad time at it. This has a bonus objective on top of all the other value that we're seeing. dueling noodles. Leviathan on the left, Ogopogo, well, was Ogopogo on the right. And it is a sea monster extravaganza here in the Baron Inn today.
You were just talking about Thunderclaw best game. Man, that would have been useful right now.
Yeah, won't do the bonus damage until the water gets gathered. And this is actually kind of nice. You do want to leave the water barrier up on this Kenatsu. The punch here is really rude, but the base damage of the wave will only be about 160, and Rosa and the Yongs, they can tank that without much issue.
All right, so Antidale with his party set up with a Cecil that's still rocking a silver staff. I don't know if we've seen anything. I mean, maybe an Ogre Axe somewhere, but yeah, Cecil is still not terribly well equipped versus double punch mage, double. No, he still only has one Palom rocking right now over there on Eykir. My goodness. This is really shaping up to be an amazing race. There's so much early divergence in terms of party comp, in terms of what they've already checked. I'm really hyped for this so far.
Oh yeah, I love seeing the different strategies that having free characters re-enabled. Because most tournaments we've not included them, just because we wanted to bump the difficulty along other axes of possibility. Here though, you get that customizability, but you have to commit. We're not letting you get your characters back from the Tower of Wishes once you dismiss them, and once you get to those table flags, if you pick someone, they are with you permanently.
But in Ben, I have commitment issues. Like, what am I gonna do? Seriously.
Well, you can just, carry around, just your one starting character and see how much you can solo. And then maybe eventually you just do, solo Zeromus fights like Dusty Griff does.
I've had worse ideas given to me.
And chat talking about the weaponry you can find. In S standard, you can find ice brands and ogre axes in ungated shops. Once you get underground, or to any gated shop, if you're counting Evelyn as underground, whatever, you can buy up to lightsabers in gated shops, and maybe even rune axes, depending on where you personally rank those.
I think from an attack power perspective, they're the same, but they have like a lower hit rating, so it ends up doing less damage, if I'm correct.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The rune axe is the hardest hitting axe, but it doesn't have the accuracy of the ogre axe or of pretty much any sword in the game. But the quadruple damage versus mages can really help you out with things like the Magus Sisters, Asura, Bearing Guards if they're in a nastier spot. So, you have your trade-offs. And that is a hook, by the way, from the Baron Inn. We can now turn in the Rat Tail. But more importantly, it's looking like we have a hook seed here. No magma key. Let's get our Freen blesses in chat for no magma key in the overworld.
You know what? Considering all the freebie Quake kits that we were given and gifted for this seed, I don't think there's any room to complain at this point in time.
Oh yeah, the party comp is being generous. The only thing I think that people may want that they've not gotten is Edge. We have C relaxed on. You can actually find Edge in ungated spots. Just didn't roll any this time. And did you want a weapon for a Cecil? Anadale's gonna be very glad he kept that Paladin once he gets over to where Eykir is, getting an Avenger for the Rat Tail turn in.
Absolutely. Edge is still possible. We have the Evelyn spot that's right there. The nice thing also about doing the hook route, and I really actually enjoy doing hook routes with this particular flag set, just because of how awesome the Eblin item shop is, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Evelyn item shop on standard gets an extra tier 5 item in it just to alleviate some of those real nasty hook path bosses.
You want your sirens and your hourglasses in the same shop? Welcome to Eblin.
Grinds? We got you, Grinds.
Chat is just blowing up right now. Eykir sold a Thunderclaw, and they're like, "How dare you!"
I mean, for what it's worth, if you do have Palom on your team, it's a little less required because you do have other good sources of lightning damage. But I do love to have one just for when there's a rude Odin that pops up somewhere.
One thing
And
we've seen Antidale do that Eykir has not quite done yet. Uh, Antidale has been checking all of these other kind of miscellaneous caves. He checked the Watery Pass boss. He checked the Mist Cave boss. So it seems like he's valuing the intel more than anything, trying to figure out, okay, where is this demist? Trying to get some extra information, making the commitment to spend the time to do that. It's not a ton of time, but that really kind of highlights his playstyle at this point.
oh yeah, there's nothing worse than like everyone has had a race experience, usually early in their time playing Free Enterprise, where they faded these spots, just ignored them, like, oh, they don't have a key item, what could I possibly care? And then 2 hours later, they're like, did I ever see a demist? And it was just waiting there. It's even worse when it has like your magma key and you were forced down a hook route instead. And we do see Eykir going for the flame dog chest. I'm sure chat is very excited about this.
You know, in one of my races, official races earlier this week, this Flame Dog chest did have a crystal sword for a Cecil waiting for me. So I'm an advocate of checking Flame Dog chests ever since that.
Yeah, but Eykir having ditched the Cecil, no other Cecils in sight. Artemis bow to go with those Artemis arrows. Oh, and we have Sirens and Bacchus one in Heblin's item shop. You were talking about spicy. That's a combo right there. Although with the Avenger, we may not really need that wine that much.
I was going to say, we have an Avenger Sword Cecil and a bunch of mages, and they give us Bacchus wines. Thanks, Rando.
Quint. I want to see those kids zerked up, Anadil. But yeah, that Artemis bow it's kind of interesting because the Elven bow gives a little bonus to your black magic stat. The Samurai bow gives a bonus to your strength. Artemis bow says, "Oh, did you want to cast spells? I don't think so. Boosts your strength and agility so nicely, but does put a damper on your magic if you intend to use that on your white mage."
Oh, and we see everyone's favorite betrayal in Eblin Cave. Kane is sitting there. Do you think they purposely named him Kane specifically because he was going to betray us when they first made the game?
I think they were going for that based on the fact that in the advanced version on the Game Boy Advance, obviously, one of his weapons, I believe, another Stardust Rod, by the way, is called Abel's Lance. And so yeah, I think they were going full biblical action right there.
Shout out to the translators. Wow.
We do find Octomammoth up here at the Magus Sister spot. This can be a very nasty boss spot, but Octomammoth is one of the easier fights here. As we start hammering and clawing and spellcasting away at it, it's going to lose these tentacles after a certain number of hits each. And when it does, it gets slower and slower and slower to where even relatively weak teams can win this through battle of attrition.
Again, interesting to see conversing strategies. Antidale, you know, he has the Earth Crystal and says, no, I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and go underground. There's no real point in going. Eykir, I mean, he's committed up to this point in time to not doing ordeals, but he's saying, hey, let's do Zod and see what we can find up here, trying to follow the breadcrumbs.
And Antidale dismisses Cecil and takes the cane. I do agree with this play. We've not seen a proper paladin weapon yet, and even though the Avenger's really great, if we put that Avenger on Cecil and just let him wield that in combat, his agility goes to the roof, and you're not going to be getting your turns with all your mages. This way, Antidale can anchor with whomever he pleases. Kane will be going super fast, and if he curses that anchor, all his other mages will be going super fast as well. So very wise, savvy character swap here by Antidale.
No, I do like it. I think the only thing that would give me pause right now is not necessarily. I really enjoy Paladin Cecil because he does learn Exit, and I am in love with the Exit spell. But you have a Porum who also learns Exit relatively. So, yeah, I can see it.
Eykir is through the Octomammoth fight. Ate a little bit of time, but was not in any danger and gets some real healthy XP from that. Antidale, meanwhile, working on these Mad Ogres. They are both giants and mages, so lots of weaponry, gets quadruple damage on them. I wouldn't mind... Oh, and an Edge, finally, up in Zot. We're going to have just such completely different teams here.
Yeah, it's going to be really incredible what's going to happen here. Meanwhile, Antidale takes a death to the Mad Ogres, decides, maybe we need to go somewhere else first.
Oh, and he hadn't saved since he had done a little bit of looting. Going back to get this crystal ring, getting the extra Stardust Rod again, that's rough.
So Edge and Kane, I mean, Eykir's set up now. If he wants to, he can go full Zerk strats.
Yeah, electing not to take the Kane. Still has no one who can actually properly equip the Avenger, but I kind of like it anyway. We do have, well, Eykir only has 2 Stardust Rods. Antidale now has 3. The game is saying, hey, cast some spells. And Golbez in the second spot here. Now, I may have missed, did Eykir save after the Octomammoth fight? I think he did, I'm just not positive.
Yeah, pretty sure he did, yes.
Okay, good. Golbez at the spot. Okay, this is the Valvalis spot in Vanilla, and it has ridiculously high magic attack. They really wanted her to land those weak spells and those Ray, the gradual petrification ability. Did not want those missing on your team, so the viruses, the fire 2s, the lightning 3s that Golbez casts here will be real strong. Hopefully Eykir gets a Starveil up in time.
He has Palom in the middle spot, so it'll be a relatively slow setup. We'll see. It's going to be tight, though.
And I'm kind of surprised. Antidale looked like he had pretty much committed to that hook route, but after the wipe of the Mad Ogres is thinking, no, I need to get my party a little stronger. Let me go check for... Let me go check this remaining key item option and see what characters are up here too. Oh yeah, and
checking his agility right now. He's trying to get everything set up just so.
Yeah, in addition, the Valvalis spot is pretty much the fastest one in the overworld too. So Artemis Bow will help a bit. Cursed Ring can, of course, set your anchor all the way down to the bottom. But it still won't be that easy. You have to hope that the right characters survive until that point. And if you can, just win the coin flip. Golbez, please zap the second character to act, not the first.
Chat pointing out, and I think this is also worth pointing out on the stream, Antidale has not turned in that rat tail yet, so does not have the Avenger sword for Cecil, actually. So
really?
Which
okay.
really is going to be interesting right now. Oh, Anti does have his
Okay, cool. I thought, so good.
Okay.
The one awkward thing, though, is that if you don't start the fight with the Avenger equipped, well, there is the thing called the Avenger glitch, which means that when you equip it, if you don't do certain things to force the game to recognize its attack power, it just puts you zerked with the attack power of whatever you had equipped beforehand. So if your Cecil is only rocking a silver staff or something, it's not going to do you a world of good. Eykir, meanwhile, taking a second go at this Golbez fight.
Yeah, he just lost a coin flip for the other one. You know, had a nasty virus hit his faster character. So, and that's the really unfortunate thing about this particular fight. It really does come down to a coin flip, unfortunately.
Yeah. There are setups you can do. There's also gear you can find that will protect you from the paralysis or protect you from the instant death. There are status effects you can apply to your own team with the status effect hierarchy that keeps the paralysis from landing. But I think Eykir may be going the opposite direction because I thought he put the Artemis bow on Rosa, and I think going fast anchor here is not going to get you where you need to be. And chat asking about the Power Staff, which, yes, the Power Staff will inflict Berserk if you hit someone with it. It can be tricky to time it, though. Exodus recently found out that status effects in this game are kind of based on how many ticks you have left until your turn comes up. So if you have just acted and not re-entered the queue, it's the highest chance of it doing it. And that can be pretty tricky to try to bop your teammates with the staff to make it activate.
Meanwhile, Eykir does get through, only with the Edge surviving, but I don't think he cares per chance at this point in time. He's just happy to be through.
Yeah, getting through that Golbez second try, Antidale's about to get the bad news. Natara and Raiders. So far, we've had a lot of overlap. The main difference is that Eykir has avoided going up ordeals, making the play to fade that spot, and thus has not gotten the Luca key that Antidale has. Antidale, on the other hand, did that, got the Luca key, and did a cursory dive into Upper Babel and had a rough wipe to the Mad Ogres. So has come back to see if he can fare better here, and we do see good news for Eykir heading up ordeals. Will be getting that Luca key, which does satisfy an objective once we get underground.
And of course, we do end up finding the spoon is behind all of this. It's a key item. No sign of our Spoony Bard, though. So, I mean, it's at this point, its most effective value right now is just adding to our key item count.
Absolutely. Edge can throw it on Eykir's side if there's a real nasty boss. You probably don't want to use it here on Ordeals with what we know we'll be fighting thanks to Antidale. But, you know, there are definitely bosses where it's like, no, you are too annoying, take my cutlery, I'm out of here. Antidale, meanwhile, appears to have some real spicy gear on Rosa. I think that crystal ring, I think she has it on, that protected against the paralysis, and then was fortunate enough for her not to be one of the 3 devoured characters. Makes it easy peasy to get the Star Veil up. Golbez stands no chance. And with that, Antidale will have full cleared the overworld and has to head back through that hook route now.
Yeah, I think we checked just about everything at this point in time, so we know it's a hook required route. Eykir is going to be picking up his Luca key. He's going to be able to get through a lot of these bosses considerably quicker than Antidale did. I mean, he has an edge already ready to roll. But it's still going to be really interesting to see how these guys get through. I haven't seen Quake Kid come online yet. I don't think we quite have the levels yet.
Yeah, both these racers will probably have Quake if they can clear that Mad Ogre chest once they get underground. I am wondering though. So with the Edge being admitted to Eykir's team, Vatasia, chat, anyone who saw it, have we seen long katanas for sale in any of these overworld weapon shops? They can be in an ungated shop, not guaranteed. But I was just wondering if we spotted them, because I don't think we've picked up any really good katanas yet, just in the treasure.
Off the top of my head, I have not seen any myself. It's worth noting that we haven't really checked the Eblin armor and weapon shop yet, though, either, which can also have some of those better weapons as well. So, I don't know. he's doing all right up to this point in time. We're about to do something that, level 25, right about the same level you want to aim for to be able to get through here. So I don't know. I don't. It'd be nice, but I don't know if it's something we'll need right now.
Yeah, and they're also nice because the next upgrade, which you can buy in gated shops on F standard, are the ninja katanas, but they jump up from 11,000 gold pieces a piece to 66,000 gold pieces a pop. So yeah, for please help me budget my katana costs. My family is dying. Uh, my family is being turned into monsters. I don't know. I had something, but I lost it. Antidale this time does not take the cane. I guess felt a little betrayed by his actions last time. And I wonder if he's cozy with the XP he got from doing Zot, or if he intends to take those Mad Ogres on again.
That'll be interesting. Oh.
And yeah, Eykir completely blasting through this ordeal is just super fast. All these levels from having done Zot already, clears it in no time flat. We're going to have these two racers fairly neck and neck going into this hook route in a moment.
Antidale did end up finding a power robe. That's a nice little pickup for, Edge or, yeah, he's, the Edge is his only melee character? Okay.
I mean, we do have that Artemis bow and Artemis arrows. There's a part of me that thinks it might be more fun to go full on Zerker Rosa here and just let Porum take care of the healing. Rosa's like, no, this is my power rope now. I am going to shoot all the things. But it's going to be our first... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say exactly what you were going to say. It's our first check, and we have Antlion in the King and Queen spot. Yeah, this hits a little hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, this spot hits like a truck driving a smaller truck. The truck driving a bigger truck, yes. I don't think you had... I had that backwards. Anyway, luckily though, Antidale does... Did Antidale just throw the Avenger?
Oh, he threw a dream.
Okay. I saw him look. He was eyeballing it in that menu, and I was like, excuse me? But I mean, already said no Cecil, no Kane. If you're not taking Cecil or Kane, who are you putting the Avenger on, you know? But yeah, this spot hits really hard. We do have at least that Cursed Ring, which means that it's not going to be outspeeding us to boot.
And that's the danger. He's just smacking us around. Wow.
Down to just the edge. You paid for an entire team, but you're only going to use the edge.
Meanwhile, Eykir is doing something really interesting. He's going over here to Eblan Castle proper. Some decent gear can be picked up here in these particular flag sets, but more importantly, there's 3 trap chests that can give you some decent experience when you fight. Maybe enough to get up here to get Quake Kid going.
Oh yeah, and I don't mind this play either because we do have that edge on the team, and that edge longs for some fine Hanzo still, which we've just not seen yet. And Antidale probably feeling a little behind here. Has full cleared the overworld, also made 1 dive already through here earlier and wiped the ogres. So definitely has treaded the same ground multiple times, and now Antlion doing no favors. Do you think you start to panic a little bit at this point?
I don't know if panic is going to be the word, but tilt, yes. And, restart, he does absolutely throw that Avenger sword. Oh my goodness, this Antlion is so rude. But I think, even 1 death, and if you're in any sort of tournament or playoff situation, even 1 death gets you tilted.
The 88 damage to the 85 HP Rosa. It's so... It's so mean! Antlion, calm down! There's the battle speed turn down. This one will go a little better, but is that 3 win three knockouts for Antlion already? Oh my god.
I mean, that's at least two. So we'll say 2-0. Antlion versus our streamed runners. Like, I don't know if you can really be ashamed to die to Antlion here. This is a rude spot for Antlion.
Oh yeah, I mean there's no shame in it, but it's still pretty funny. Like it's so mean. I love a rude fight at the spot. I know some folks think that, well, do we really need to put the King Queen Evelyn stats into a monster here? Do we really? They have ridiculously high speed and attack power, but they don't do any damage in vanilla. Do we need a boss here? Yes, we need a boss here.
For this exact reason, yes.
I mean, that's why we watch these, right? Torment the racers and entertain chat, right?
And I mean, the nice thing is, it's one of those situations where we can sit back and say, thank goodness this seed wasn't given to me in one of my races. Right, folks?
And also, what a difference a battle speed setting makes. This one going a lot smoother. Antidale actually getting his turns in as well here, instead of Antlion just eviscerating the entire team like the Starship Troopers looking bug he is. And Antidale's through. Nah, I bet we're going to see a safety save here.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we know it's not Ogopogo, so yay for that. I mean, we'll see. No
Oh, the
safety
courage.
save.
These Lunars. Little annoying spot for them. This spot does have about 25,000 HP, a little over, so each of them will have a little over 12,500. And if we hit them, we're going to be eating a face full of viruses. I think, well, we do have Artemis arrows, which dish out work here. And only 2 Starvels. Did not buy another stack of Starvels anywhere in the overworld. Interesting. I was going to say I would be eager to just be patient, turn them into frogs, and then step on them into little green goop. But with only 2 Starvels, that's even also kind of chancy. You may only get the reflect off onto one of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking for. His Rose is doing work, though, with that arty setup.
Yeah, as long as we don't run out. Of course, also the script has another fun feature where if we do kill one of them, we can lock the other one by bopping it. It won't do anything except counter everything with flame. I mean, it'll counter everything with flame anyway, but if you bop it, it'll at least stop doing the rest of the script. We do see those Starvels coming out.
Yep, I think he's ready for it at this point in time.
So I've not been keeping count of the punches. I believe it is punch, flame, and then 3 punches each, and then breath. If it's 4, chat, please correct me. I think it's 3 each there.
I mean, you're about 5 years ahead of me in knowing exactly how it goes. I just set it up and then wait.
Still punching. Come on, breath. So it's 4 each. Thank you, Possum Morpheus. And we do land it on both of them. Bite's free at this point.
Eykir actually does end up finding a longsword and an assassin dagger as he's continuing to clear out Evelyn Castle.
There we go. Decent gear for our edge. Both those are, I believe, purchasable in ungated shops on this flag set, so maybe was hoping for something a little spicier, maybe some ninja blades, a Murasame, something like that. But you're not going to turn it down. Let's get that ninja a little stronger, and it looks like we're going to be headed on into the cave. Oh yeah, PK. And Antidale has also named his foo Dufresne. Chat. Search party of 90. You can eat once you find the Dufresne. We will not be finding the Dufresne this Sid. Anyway, with that, Annadelle will be our first racer through into the underground, a little past the 47-minute mark, not shabby. But again, little bit of tilting maybe, a little bit of worry. I had to go through this path twice. Antlion bit me, Mad Ogres bit me. Am I still doing okay? Where do you go next when you get down here, Batasia?
I mean, first you do your freebie, you unlock your sealed cave. But after that, I'm a fan of checking the shops early just so I know what I'm going to be doing next. But also check your freebies. Make sure you check the Fey March chest because that can really dictate in terms of what you do afterwards pretty quickly. Um, we also did manage to find sirens that are up in the Eblin cave. You might even, if you can crack a couple eggs to get a warp for your Palom, that makes Dwarf Castle a little bit more attractive too.
Yeah, I really like that play. One, your team's going to be so much stronger going forward into the next few battles. And like you said, you get that freebie. And more relevantly, well, maybe not more relevantly, but also relevantly, with the Luca key, that sealed cave item's actually in logic. Even though we can warp glitch, the key item distribution doesn't take that into account. It will never say, oh, you can only proceed with your warp. So any item you get there is a little risky if you decide to pursue it. If there was a path that was going to lead to it anyway, then yeah, good. But if it's something that's just a rabbit hole and it was gated by something on the moon, does you no good, be a little chancy. Here, we have that Luca key. We know whatever we get by warp glitching, perfectly legitimate. And I believe Palom learns warp at what, level 29? So we'll be there fairly soon. Oh yeah, and apologies if I wasn't clear there. It's not chancy to get the item. It's chancy if you want to then chase it after finding it. Just to be clear about the distinction between those two. Checking it, yeah, no problem. But if it's something like, well, for this team, in our current situation, every key item is a good key item. Tower Key lets us double up checks in Babel, and one's already in Logic. Baron Key gives us access to the Basement Throne, and the Twin Harp gives us access to Cave Magnus, so they'd all be fine here anyway.
Something at this point. I think we're just looking for direction, right?
I mean, I'm always looking for direction. It doesn't make a difference whether I'm playing for Enterprise or not. And there we go. Annadelle grinds up to warp and is making the Dwarf Castle play. Perfectly sensible.
Makes a lot of sense. You want to make these checks as efficiently as you possibly can. He already had the sirens. Managed to get Quake right at the end of that battle, so made those egg grinds a little bit easy.
Eykir over here, getting this cane loaded for Bear, found a Dragoon Spear. I'm guessing that was in one of his Eblin Castle fights. One of the main places he went that Annadelle did not. Gonna have a very strong Dragoon. Annadelle, meanwhile, finds either Mylon or Mylon and Friends here. That's Mylon and Friends. Quake is gonna do bad things to this Earth Vein. Also, Eykir fighting the dreaded inventory management boss. Kind of a side effect of T Wildish. All the gear, you can find so much good gear that you just can't bear to get rid of it. But you run out of space pretty quickly if you start playing that way.
And I think the roughest part of it, I mean, we got some good stabs and rods, but we haven't found any other mage gear. No rings, no robes, no headpieces. So he's like trying to manage everything, but it's just been difficult right now.
Yeah, I think the best black mage gear we found, of course, other than the Stardust Ruts, of course, Annadelle saw a black shirt, which has been fixed in 4.1 to actually boost black magic in one of these upper Babel chests, but I'm not sure if he took it the second time through. But you could always just go power overwhelming, and who cares about defense then, right?
Defense is killing them quickly.
Do you see the Magus Sisters here? Which, hey, I hear getting that self-same black shirt we were talking about. Magus Sisters here, which, if we paid attention in Za, we would have seen. Not a bad spot for them. Magic attack here is really, really weak, and the HP is really low. So Palom says, quack.
Boy, that was fast.
Unlocking some tier 3 elemental spells here as well. I know this team is very potent. It's just now a question of, are you going to the right spots to clear these remaining objectives and get your Zeromus access?
That is one of the nice things about having to and being kind of forced into the bottleneck that is doing the hook route is by the time you come out the other end, you can take out just about anything that's in your way. You might need a few more levels in order to get through like King and Queen of the Feymarch, but other than that, most everything else is going to be pretty straightforward.
And here we go, Warp Glitch. Sneaking in the back way to the sealed cave.
Wow.
Vanilla Darkness Crystal. Oh, well, the good news for us is that this puts antidale to a rather harsh choice.
Oh my.
Yeah, Legends. So we now need any two of the following three: an adamant rock, a twin harp, or a barren key. And they can be anywhere. So is Moon going to be haunted or vaunted? Are we going to find value at the freebies in Feymarch and Sheila 1? I mean, the team's not going to be the issue. Both our racers are going to have immensely powerful teams that will not have problems clearing through everything. So it really comes down to guessing correctly, and we'll see whose choices pay off better here.
Oh, sorcerer robes available in there in the dwarf castle. I mean, for a mage heavy party, that might be pretty attractive if you don't end up finding anything. At this point, I think with Antidale, you check your freebies to see if it gives you any sort of breadcrumb path. But right now, it's more about efficiency checks, making sure you can get things done and checked as quickly as you possibly can.
Yeah, double checking item shops. Given that Antidale may feel a little behind, I would be shocked to see a job dwarf check here. Do find Cure 3s, buys a small stack of those just for safety. With 2 white mages, well, actually, did he keep the Porum? I think he did, right? Okay.
I'm fairly certain. Yeah, I've seen a Porum.
And yeah, Chad, I did see Eykir buy the double cat claw. I am personally double cat claw's fine. If you're going to be taking your Yang to endgame, then yes, it will be meaningful at the end. It's just, they sell for so much, and we're always so broke when we're playing on the at least on the table flags.
All right, this free chest in Feymarch is hey, finally a decent sword.
Finally, the Hanzo Steel, after we've taken the Harsh Hook route and have access to all the grinds we could ever desire. Hooray.
I mean, we're no closer in terms of figuring out what the heck we want to do next. But it's nice. And coffins. So we have hourglasses, sirens, and coffins all available and within access. Our grind's looking pretty easy for this particular one.
Quick peek at Feymarch. Yang on the right. Don't you wish you had a Cecil right now? Maybe, maybe not. And we have Dark Imps on the left. I love this fight here because it looks like you think you're going to get into a fight with one of them, then the other 2 red robes in the room, like, shank you. And they do definitely shank pretty hard here. but we did buy hourglasses at Dwarf Castle, so as long as antidale gets this queued up in time, they'll punch 3 times, that'll be all, and then, oh, we have coffins too, so yeah. These punches will hurt, but that's all she wrote for these Dark Imps.
Yeah, this is just get some life up so that everyone gets some experience, and then be prepared to use some life potion glitches. This could get you quite a bit of experience and some bonuses here.
Oh yeah. We mentioned that we have sirens available for grinds. Well, hey, why not get a little bonus while you're here anyway? I doubt we'll see that Yang at a Sura fight. This team would be able to deal with that, but it would definitely be a little slower and a little more annoying than just dealing with these imps here.
All 3 level 3 spells now. Walls even turned on. That was a nice little chunk of experience, and we are rewarded with, okay, a white shirt.
You mentioned you wanted some mage gear. Well, there you go. Pretty much best in slot in this flag set for a white mage. No adamants, of course. Adamant always best in slot for everybody. But, you know, for that chunk of XP and that reward, I think that was a pretty good time investment.
Oh,
we
he's
are
setting up
seeing
wow.
making the play. Interesting. I mean, this team can definitely handle this with these levels, but ooh, not fading the fail march. Really hoping for a big payoff here.
It's gutsy, kind of regardless. He does. Karate can do a lot of damage here. No Cecil means we can't kind of shortcut it. So just got to be smart about it. Cast illusions. He's got double white mages, so there's some help there.
Yeah, 23,000 HP at this spot, and our Edge is doing just shy of 2,300 a pop. And of course, Blink, best curing spell in the game. Why cure damage when you never have to take it to start with? There we go, getting some higher rolls from Edge now. Both Palums taking a nap.
He's got Quake. He doesn't need any more levels. He's done. Both Rosa and Porum. Oh, maybe the screen's just flickering and I can't quite see if they have that. But he gets through.
And the pink tail. You know, it is a key item towards our march to 10 and double XP. We have a hook so we can turn it in. But we already have Life Staff. We already have Stardust Rods. We already have a Masamune. Honestly, I'm not sure I go out of my way to turn that in with this team and the gear I'm already rocking.
You know, it's one of those situations where I think if the hovercraft was already set up there because I had turned in the rat tail last, I might go check it just on a lark. But if I have to reset up everything like these guys would have to do, no.
And we do see Eykir being the first one of our racers to complete an objective, has unlocked the sealed cave. That's number 4 for Eykir. And he'll still delaying that. I kind of hope he doesn't forget. I mean, we have to come back to Earth no matter what to do our whatever other objectives we complete. If we do end up going Moon, you have to go to Coca-Cola Forge, Baron Castle, Cave Magnus. They're all here on Earth. So fading it, maybe not the worst thing. It's not like you're going to complete your objectives mid-Moon and think, oh no, I have to go back to Earth.
Well, Antidale is continuing to check his freebies. Going to be turning Sheila in, and our wonderful drilling up through the mountains. I never quite understood the physics of this, but that's okay.
Yeah, like does the does the Falcon go directly up? It seems like it would be hard to stay standing on the bow of it if that were the case.
More than that, where do you get your leverage? Where's the torque in the drill at that point? Like, fans can only give you so much.
I like to imagine that the rest of the ship counter spins the opposite direction. Everyone just flinging off. We didn't think this all the way through.
FF4 physics.
And just a ribbon at Sheila 1, we see a quick reset. I think chat called it. We're getting a reset right back to bottom of tower and running up it. This will mean that we will get another drilling through the mountain cutscene. You thought you were going to get maybe 2. We're getting 3 today. Heck yeah.
Meanwhile, Antidale, yeah, climbing this tower. He's got edges if he really wants to steal sirens from these alerts, but we can also buy them, so likely not going to see that here.
I hear, by the way, getting to put that Dragoon Spear to really good work. Gonna do quadruple damage to these yellow dragon eggs. If both our racers elect to do this kind of grind, I mean, Annadale does have Artemis arrows, should be able to one-shot the eggs as well. But there's just something about having a cane in the middle just going bonk, and you're 34,000 XP wiser.
I suspect that we're going to end up doing the majority of our grinding up on the moon, just how things are shaking up, unless we end up finding, both the harp and an adamant, relatively quickly, or a barren key. Just from how everything is set up, we have 9 key items, so if we get the 10th before we leave for the moon, I can see them doing that, but yeah, I'm leaning like the moon is looking like it's going to be the play.
Yeah, and we do have hourglasses for sale, and that Dragoon Spear means gold dragons are basically free. Siren, freeze them, life glitch them for 180,000 XP once we have 10 key items. And you also really increase your finances that way in case we do end up forging the crystal this seed. Well, forging to get our crystal this seed and see something really good that we want to buy at the coal shop. So lots of options on the table. Pale Dim here at the top of the tower, not too harsh of a fight. If Eykir ends up going there, Dragon Sphere will do tons of work as well. But I'm kind of enjoying seeing this Rosa doing a 4,000 plus a shot. It warms the cockles of my heart.
You don't often get to see Rosa do quite that much damage, so stepping up to the front lines, I white mage in FF14, so it's always nice to see a white mage do that much damage.
Peldim's down, and if I'm correct, this is Antidale's last possible check on the blue planet. Has taken care of Feymarch in full.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd to see it an hour and already it all done. And Excal.
So that means Moon is vaunted. all 3 of our other potential objectives are gated by the moon.
Antidale going ahead and saying, "Yeah, we absolutely are going to do this before we go up to the moon. We're gonna have to return regardless because we need to find the twin harp, we need to find the Baron key, and we need to find the adamant. 2 of those 3. Here's the question for you: if you get something like the harp early in the moon, do you jump back down to Earth and try to gamble that it will end up with breadcrumbs to get you to the next spot, or do you stay up there until you find 2 of 3?
I think it depends a little bit. Twin harp, I probably hold on to. So I think there are a couple options. You could theoretically go top down. You could peek Cave Bahamut and then do the Pale Dim altar, the vanilla Murasame spot. And if you get, multiple options there, like Baron Key gives you an objective and gates 2 spots. Pan, of course, gates 2 more items. So there are some things that I would be tempted to leave. If you're going to decide to go all the way down to the bottom of the lunar subterrane immediately, I think you probably stay there. It would be pretty bad to come back to check to get one of your objectives, just to find that everything else is still gated down there. So there's a lot of different choices that can be made here. And of course, chat being even more evil than we are, I'm still waking up. It didn't occur to me that we could even have oh my gosh. If there's a demist at Evil Wall, gating something like the Pen or the Baron Key that blocks even more things, I'd been wanting to see one of these. I had heard that there was at least one required demist at Evil Wall Seed that had been rolled, but to see one live would be such a treat.
What you're saying is chat is really good at coming up with worst case scenarios for things that they never want to do themselves.
Oh yeah. And Annadelle is going to peek the pink tail. I'm trying to think of what could be here that would be super meaningful. I mean, if there's a crystal sword and then like a Cecil on the moon, maybe you flip over and slingshot.
Comms curse. Commentator's curse. It's there. Calling Cecil on the moon right now.
As PK says, there is a crystal sword in every seed. You should have kept your Cecil, and you should have thrown your Avenger. May that be a lesson to you. It will be real funny if there's a Cecil on the moon and we do put him back in the team at this point.
Do you though? I mean, Antidale's already like pretty well committed to this party, even with Crystal Sword Cecil. Do you take it? Do you take the chance? Oh no, Eykir. Oh wait, yeah, okay, he did. I thought, oh, did you not pick up that? Oh, he did.
Okay. One of my favorite things that I think everyone also has done at some point is when you're playing with the warp glitch on, and you cast warp to get the item, but then you exit Dwarf Castle before you activate the the item cutscene there, and it's like, wait. Did I ever get the Dwarf Castle item? I had to have. I warp glitched it. Oh no, and then you rush back there to get it.
And this is Antidale checking. He hadn't actually done it. Maybe he's gonna pick up some Yangs?
That's weird, because Annadelle did peek these two earlier in the seed. I wonder if he just forgot? Because you can't get your characters back up here. Is taking...
He's ditching his Palums. He's no longer double Palum, he's double Youngs.
I don't understand. I'm very confused. I can't wait to ask him about this. He has taken the Yang Yang twins. I mean, with the Stardust Rod, I mean, okay, so I'm starting to comprehend what's happening here. Antidale may be looking at this team and at his situation saying, I don't have 10 key items yet. I probably don't get my team to level 52 to get those nukes, to get those holies. Let me flip over to go full Quint strats. We have the Bacchus one, and, you know, it'll make Zeromus very easy. And I'm going to get decent levels on these Yongs, get them until probably like the 40s to make things fun.
I don't know. That still doesn't make sense because he's already at 9 key items and he's guaranteed to get at least another 10th just to complete something.
Yeah, and we have... Yeah, you're right. And we have the Hourglasses, we have the Sirens, Gold Dragons are there to get you over that final bump, or even Yellow Dragon Eggs at 10 key items if you're just pew-pewing them with, you know, Artemis Bow, Artemis Arrow, Crystal Ring, Rosa, shooting them instantly each Siren.
He did pick up a ton of Bacchus wines, so maybe that's just his strat that he's planning on setting it up. Like, okay, I got my Rosa. I'll have, yeah, I don't know.
Just the utter contempt for the Stardust Rods that the game's been throwing at you. Mean, maybe it pays off, but I don't know. I feel that if you're maybe this is like the Crystal Sword was a sign from above to Antidale. Oh, I need to, like, if it had been like a 4th Stardust Rod, maybe. Well, Stardust Rods can't be there. They're tier 6. But but if it had been more mage type stuff, maybe he's like, okay. But the Crystal Sword says, no, punch everything.
All I know is, there's going to be a reckoning amongst the rando gods at this point in time. Like, we gave you all the mage party set up and you took punches.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Antidale does have a pretty good lead on Eykir. Antidale has completely cleared the earth, has checked every potential spot. Eykir still has quite a few to go through. But still, fairly shocked.
I don't understand anything.
Well, here you do want to get the Yangs online, otherwise they're not going to get any XP from your other fights when they just die in one punch. And they do get slingshotted here. They will be getting, each Yang will be getting 180,000 here if we life glitch. And this will also just make the rest of the moon fights fairly safe. You do feel bad to be doing it at 9 key items, but you know who would make these moon fights really nice? Stardust Rod Palums! I mean, I get it. I just, again, if the seed gives you lemons, why are you making well, you're not making lemonade. You're making omelets for some reason. With anyway, my brain is broken, but we are getting the life glitches off. We are going to get a ton of XP here. I'm looking forward to seeing how many levels these Yangs do gain from this fight.
It'll be interesting for sure. Let's see, 23.
Yeah, so bumping right from level 10 to level 33. They are, however, still young. They still are not going to be doing good damage, in my opinion. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but Antidale didn't buy claws as he saw them in the early game. Eykir had Thunder Claws and sold at least one of them. So didn't buy Cat Claws, doesn't have Thunder Claws. These Youngs are just rocking basic Fire Claws here. And we've not seen Rubicante yet. This team is gonna really not enjoy a Rubicante fight. No source of ice damage, as I'm saying.
Yeah, Rubicante becomes an insta reset at this point. Right. Well, Antidale is doing his grind, and it looks like Eykir is going to be taking on these bosses down here in the Fame March. I do want to give one other shout out to our wonderful team in the background, Smapedy, who is part of this group, by the way, scoping out his competition here, but also doing the tracking. Thank you so much, Smapedy, for doing the tracking. And then Neo Bari, who's on the restream itself. Thank you guys so much for all the work behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And Antidale feeling comfy with this amount of leveling, hovering right around the 40 mark, couple below, a few above. Ready to tackle some of these moon bosses. Let's see what we have in store.
He has set his Porum up as kind of a sacrificial lamb, so to speak. Still has a life staff equipped, but says, yeah, you're my anchor, and here's your curse ring. You're worthless.
I mean, Cure 4 single targeted will still do its thing. Blink, still an amazing spell. And, you know, pretty much at these levels, anything she can do, Rosa can do better. We've even been through the Tower of Zot, so Rosa even knows exit to boot. But yeah, it definitely some interesting party choices here on both sides.
I don't know if any of them could be called optimal, although if I'm being 100% honest, if I had my druthers, I'd rather have Eykir's party set up right now.
Just a little more balance. You got a little bit of everything over there. Now, the anchoring issue for Eykir will become real eventually, but for now, yeah, you've got really great balanced sources of damage. And meanwhile, it's found Pain Man. 3 Dark Waves, and this fight will be over. and even gets the Porum up to make sure she gets the XP for the fight.
Eykir, meanwhile, gets the bad news that none of the fights at the Fade March are worth anything at this point in time, so he's exiting out.
It does keep the pink tail, though, also going to be at 9 key items when he eventually has to make the moon play. Meanwhile, Dragoon Spear and Package. We do get a 10th key item. Antidale now has the double XP bonus going forward, but no progress. Nothing that gives us any of our 3 remaining objectives.
Well, that was the easy one. I mean, we have the White Land spot as well, so still options on the table.
Next up, we have that vanilla White Sphere altar where you fight Plague in the normal game, and where you fight Plague tonight, or this afternoon, whatever time it is. Plague all around the clock. But for some reason, this clock only counts down from 10.
Not a horrible spot for play, but not what you're hoping for.
I mean, it's fine. Our team's so fast, and you can, of course, do Zerker strats to basically make it to where your timer never runs out. We're getting double damage from Edge with a full moon equipped. We're going to be getting double damage from Rosa with her bow and arrows. Yeah, tearing through this poor eyeball. I think one more swing from Edge will finish it. Yeah, there we go.
Wow, you are amazing at counting health.
I don't remember all the exact numbers, but it's more like you get a feeling like that's long enough. That's long enough. Give me my item, and that's a Baron key. Now you were asking earlier, what kind of strategy do you take here? We know the Baron key gives us access to 2 key item checks, one of those spots is one of our options. But it's real hard to leave the bottom of the moon once you're already down here. I think we're going to at least see peaks at the bosses at the Ogopogo altar and the Wyvern altar.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, you have this one, Ogopogo, Wyvern, Pale Dim, and then Bahamut. So there's 4 checks that are still up here on the moon. Versus going down there, you have 1 key item, so you're just hoping for one other. You have 4 checks, and you're just looking for one of other 2 key items. So pretty decent odds, all things said.
Yeah. There's also something that Annadale does have 10 key items now. So he actually has 11 after that Baron key. But we'll also be getting double XP from here. So you can also kind of consider this partially covering my bases for key items, but also, this is my grind for, my Zeromus fight. Although this spot will give slightly less XP. You don't get full XP. Part of it's a portion to the elf form, part of it's a portion to the dragon form.
Well, also worth noting, if you can at least push it to the dragon form, hourglasses end up working on it, so it makes the second half of the fight a little bit easier. And
yeah.
I mean, a lot.
And Rosa's still using that one final Artemis arrow over and over. It just comes back. It just comes back every time she shoots it.
Meanwhile, Eykir looks like he's going to take a little bit of a route divergence, and he goes Value Cave.
Yeah, now we do know that at least one of our options for objective completion is down at the Plague Altar. But it's entirely possible the other 2 are here at the top half of the moon. And a tower key. Another progressive key item. It does unlock another check. But not sure that's going to be the priority once we do get back to the blue planet. I think if we do say find the Twin Harp and the Baron, well, the Twin Harp and Baron key just finish everything off. If we don't find Twin Harp or Adamant here, I think you just you go Baron first and hope that one of those two spots gives you the remainder you need for go mode.
Antidale actually says no, I'm good. He's fading both Crystal Sword and Pale Dim. Uh, looks like he's going right over. He's even fading Bahamut.
Wyvern.
If something is here, over here on Eykir's side, I mean, this would be interesting.
Yeah, the real annoying thing for Antidale here is if we have something like Tower Key empty, Baron empty, and then it's something like Twin Harp gating Adamant at the Wyvern altar. Because if so, Antidale has forced himself to completely rewalk the moon with this gamble. And yes, Antidale did check top of tower earlier. It was an Excalibur, courtesy of the Pale Dim fight. He reset out of it.
Eykir, meanwhile, he quaked and was not quite able to kill the CPU. I think he was counting health, but we'll see. He's taken some Globe 99s to the face.
Yeah, the Bahamut spot doesn't have the highest magic attack, but Globe 199 is super strong and is hitting this team for 6,000 damage. We're not seeing the quad 9s we normally do, but still rough. Well, Mr. Bus Driver, at this point, Antidale probably doesn't want to fly back to Eblin again. We've already seen Cat Claws, and probably feels at this point with these levels that shopping only serves to slow him down, if I had to guess. Flipping over to mute arrows to hit that weakness, but I think Antidale had an Elven bow equipped anyway, and thus was hitting the weakness. I may have misread though. May still have the Artie bow equipped. And we do see a play to the basement throne first. I mean, with this team, you have to assume there's nothing here that can really stop you. And on top of that, if this does give the Adamant or the Twin Harp, you don't even have to do the normal throne. It's a little bit of a hike outside, but you get to bypass what could be a slow fight and what could likely be, and what is definitely a long, slow cutscene. But we know what this is! Wyvern's the only thing left in the pool. Show me that Mega Nuke.
Rip.
I mean, Oh! Remember earlier at the D-Lunars fight when we said that Antidale had never bought additional Star Veils, and now forcing him back to his save on the moon, had not saved a single time since, and I guess had not saved after fighting the Dark Elf fight either. Antidale hitting that R button super fast, totally frustrated at this point, but we know here, still in the lead. CPU over here keeping Eykir occupied quite a bit. Antidale still has the advantage, does have that Baron key, but right now you just have to be so mad at yourself.
Oh, absolutely. This is nothing but tilt at this point in time. If you're Antidale, you are frustrated with your own play. You're frustrated with the seed. You're frustrated at your controller. Like, this is why you keep spare controllers around, just in case you have to throw something at the wall. Question for chat or for our trackers, whoever's out there, where were Star Veils? Because we know Antidale didn't buy any extra. Did we ever see them? And Twin Harp! Eykir finds Twin Harp.
That is huge. Eykir has gone top down, hasn't even entered the Lunar Dais room yet. Could go right back to Earth and chase this. Let's see if he goes to the crystal or to the control panel. Oh, not leaving yet. Going to the control panel instead. If that's Adamant at Twin Harp, Eykir's back in the driver's seat here. But looks to be making a play at More of the Moon. Probably going to try to find a second objective before departing.
Think of it this way. We know what Eykir's going to find. If he follows traditional routing, he'll dive into the bottom of it, and he's going to end up finding Baron key, which nice. I mean, he may end up taking the other way because he started topside. If he ends up going to the Pale Dim spot initially and finds, say, the Adamant there, I mean, that could be that's amazing at this point in time.
This also means that for Anadale's sake, Anadale has to kind of really be hoping here that the Adamant is back at the Wyvern spot. Because Anadale's likely at this point to, well, I don't know, maybe he just leaves again. Could commit to the play in full. But I don't see Anadale going to Bahamut spot anytime soon. And I think if he goes there and sees CPU, he may nope out anyway and say, I'm going to go clear Earth spots. And he is exiting again, going right for the play.
You gotta like the commitment to the strategy that you're doing. You know what you gotta do and you just commit to it. Yeah, and he's going back to the earth. So I admire Antidale for picking a strategy and committing to it. But man, you gotta think he's feeling the pressure right now.
Yeah, you may think at this point, if I don't do this, if I don't commit to it, I've lost anyway. I lost time at the Mad Ogres, I lost time at Antlion, and I just lost time due to that really rude Wyvern forcing me back so incredibly far. And so I get it, I get it. There's the worry that if it's down to any other route, I've already lost. Let me go for this and hope that Wyvern was just as rude to my opponent.
Well, we do see Eykir. He faded the Pale Dim spot, so he is doing more traditional routing after he does Bahamut. So we know what he's going to end up picking up, and he's stuck with that same Wyvern fight eventually. Did I ever get an answer in chat where we ended up finding?
Well, we're going to find out. Anadale's scouring the world for them as well. And
Yeah,
Eykir making the dive. If Eykir does Plague Altar first, which perfectly valid play, you can just from here go left to right. Is going for D Lunar's Altar first. We know that this will not give what he's looking for, but probably does Plague second. And at that point, Eykir will be the first one to go mode. But we'll still have to deal with this wily Wyvern that's giving Antidale such grief.
It's been an amazing seed up to this point in time. It's been relatively linear, I would say. All things said, we kind of got, the bottleneck there pretty early, getting to the hook spot, and then not a lot of direction there until we got the Darkness Crystal. It's been relatively linear. There's Star Veils there in the Troya item shop. Yeah, it's been relatively linear, and Antidale has had a bit of an advantage the entire way through this. Eykir, with just a slight divergence over to Bahamut, might be in the driver's seat from this point forward.
Yeah, one of the classic Zemazone 1 memes, when there were 4 groups, and I don't know if we'll do the same kind of group stylings once we do get to the final 16 with the quadrants, but there were 4 groups, and towards the way to the end, you had to do, it was a 4-way free-for-all, bottom one dropped out, 3-way free-for-all, bottom one dropped out. And the Bahamut group created its own meme that there's always value in the Bahamut stand, always value in Cave Bahamut. It's even there if you talk to Bahamut the Bahamut, whoever is occupying that spot after you get the item. So a classic meme that Eykir played into and paid off massively. Anadale really has to hope there is an adamant rock down here.
It's possible. Okay, say for example nothing is there. I mean, you go ahead and clear Baron. What do you do? Do you go back to? I mean, you have to go back to the moon, right? Or do you go to the tower?
Yeah, I would check the tower key first because Anadale completely committed to that. Fighting the Dark Elf a second time. I think if you're fighting the Dark Elf that time, you're committing that you do intend to check the tower key. But when you go back to the moon, I don't see you walking all the way down to the Wyvern altar. I think you probably do go to Cave Bahamut at that point. I will note that there's something else to take from this race too. Here we've seen that Anadale has had a pretty sizable lead ever since being the first to make his way underground. Eykir took the time to go loot Eblin, fell a little bit behind at that point, and Anadale at this point seems maybe to be thinking, oh no, I'm behind, oh no, I'm behind, oh no, I'm behind. and has made some curious gambles because of that. When you are in a 1v1, you can assume that your opponent is also doing suboptimal things. So it is very hard in a 1v1 for one player to win because they made all the right decisions. So don't let something going wrong on your seed really throw you off your style of gameplay, I'd say. Don't tilt, chat. Don't do it.
No, it's true, and that goes for sort of any sort of randomizer. 1v1 races, it's about as much of what your opponent does as what you do. Um, big group races you run a little bit differently because of the stats on them. But this is really interesting. Okay, we have Star Veils off now on Wyvern, so Antidale is in a better spot. It all really comes down at this point. What does our Wyvern Dragon hold for us?
Yeah, Antidale really needs this spot or the Baron Throne to give Adamant. If so, he probably still takes it. The Twin Harp check is very slow. We love the Twin Harp, but it's not a fast check. So it's all on the line here for Antidale. Eykir is in a known go mode. Eykir has access to 2 more checks that he can complete. Absolute, nothing else to search for. But Antidale needs to get bailed out at this point. And very well can.
Here's the question. What's Eykir's Starveil situation looking like right now? Do we know?
Oh, I have no idea. I guess we're going to find out when he gets down to the basement. Hey, remember that Cecil? What about second Cecil? All right, well... Oh, Wyvern teasing the runners. But, it's not over yet. Will not be surprised to see a play at the Throne here, and an Adamant here forgives all sins. Eykir not only saved outside of Baron, taking a second save here, does not want anything to go wrong.
I mean, that would be worst case scenario at this point. You're prepping for something horrible to happen to you.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we get an alt gauntlet on the Throne, just to add insult to injury. But this is just Nylon Z. This will be like 1 punch and it's over. Maybe 2. Maybe 2. Oh, just 1. And Eykir dealing with that opening fight. Asura at Baigan. We'll see if he takes the safer route of going out through the Throne first, or if he goes right for the basement. Antidale being the first racer to complete a second objective, by the way. Yeah, getting that marked off for the basement Throne. Eykir, you going north or south? Going south, in for a treat.
Get through it. I mean, if he has the Star Veils to get through it, because I don't remember seeing Eykir buying Star Veils either.
Yeah, we're all about to learn something important. Also, I'm not sure if Eykir is anchored correctly here. Odin's a pretty speedy spot. All right, actually double Cat Claw, maybe saving the day here, but...
Doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen! No one bought Starveils! You started with only like 2! Why did no one buy any? The pass.
Oh, that is going to be spicy, because Antidale is going to complete that. I guarantee you, Eykir, once he gets to that point, will not.
Eykir, which there's okay. Eykir trying to load up the correct save here. Can't cast exit in the barren waterway.
Ah, you got to take the long walk out.
So now Eykir gets to go shopping. Where did I leave the Starveils? This is what happens when you buy Cat Claws instead of Starveils, chat. Your family, someone help me budget this. My party is dying. Oh.
You know what? This is why I check every item shop in the entire overworld every single time for reasons like this.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be mean to our racers. This is a very easy thing to overlook. Starvels, especially if you go to Troya and you get so excited about having access to the treasury that it's not hard to overlook those shops. And I feel a little less bad about it because it did hit both our racers. Both of them took the same Wyvern wipe. Both of them are now having to go explore the overworld for it. So it bit both of them. And these are both really great racers, and it shows you that this can happen to anyone. And you really, it's those little things that kill.
And poor Eykir, he's having to take this slow big whale.
Yeah, you think you're in go mode. You think you're good to go, but it's not a key item that you're missing. It's a Starvale.
One thing that I think we can all agree on, this has been an incredibly entertaining seed all the way through.
Oh yeah, huge shout out to our seed roller Neobari. Neobari made this, and I am delighted to be here with you, Vitasia, enjoying the fruits of our restreamers' labor on this fine Sunday afternoon.
Well, Eykir continues to find, we know where they're at. They're over in Troya. He's continuing to search. Antidale, the moment of truth at this point in time, was that extra dip to re-kill and get the tower key worth it? Is this the adamant? What is this? Okay.
Well,
2 key item checks.
And we have a Matryoshka doll of key item checks. Either of these could be the adamant. And adamant sometimes feels like it's more likely to be at the end of a deep rabbit hole, just because of the fact that it can't gate anything. It doesn't open any locations. So Anadil holding on to hopes here. Eykir, meanwhile, does find Starvales, will be able to go back and take down that Wyvern if his party can get them off in time. It looked like he had plenty of time with that opening Yong, so we'll probably be able to get at least 1 or 2 off.
I think so. Meanwhile, Antidale, this is the do or die moment. This is where is Antidale still in it? Magma Key 1. He's got a Sheila check. If that Sheila check is adamant, he's right back in this. Otherwise, it's Eykir in the lead.
Yeah, we know it can't be the Twin Harp. We know where it is. It's guarded by the CPU in Cave Bahamut. Our only locations are, where's D-Mist? Where's D-Mist? D-Mist, this Sheila check, and the Pale Dim and Wyvern altars. So we're down to 4 potential spots. How do you feel about like a D-Mist at the Kaipo Inn?
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit, and Ben, just don't put that out there.
Eykir making that dive all the way through Baron again. Sheila 1 will give us a ribbon again. Sheila 2 will be the moment of truth.
Oh.
And sad trombone noises. Anadel on the ropes. Needs to either get... I mean... You gotta go back to the moon, or you have to be real desperate and go look for a D-Mist in either Sealed Cave or at the package. Those are your choices, and we're flying back to the moon.
I mean, he's doing the statistically probable things, so you can't necessarily blame him. But keep in mind, he doesn't know what Eykir is doing, so he, he might be operating on the assumption that Eykir is having just as bad of a time. He's making... Okay, he's going out of his way. He's saying if Eykir did go to the moon and run traditional routing, he's not doing this. Eykir probably also felt behind, which is why he went to Bahamut to begin with. Oh man, this is just all sorts of hype.
Well, there is one other notable thing here. Antidale ditched all his mages. Both his black mages. He has Yongs. Yong cannot be back row glitched. So Yong won't be doing major damage to the CPU here. This is where we see the Spoon Throne. Going ahead and calling that now. Spoon will be flung at this orb.
I mean, there's no other reason to hold it at this point in time, right?
Yeah. And yes, Antidale does have a team that can technically back row glitch Young. I would be shocked to see him reset out of here and go try to steal Charm Harps at this point. And did I just see a blink being queued up on the attacker? Are we going with Zerk strats against the CPU?
Wait, what?
So you can blink your enemies, and they'll get 2 free hits where you won't damage them. And that's pretty much why you would do this. If you don't think you're going to have control over your physical attackers, that would do it. We do have 2 characters in Antidale's party who can both do blink. But I wonder if he's kind of overlooking that spoon right now, because to me, this is the fight that screams, oh no, I need to get out of here.
Oh my gosh, this Wyvern.
And I will note that Eykir did not take any safeties right after doing the Asura this time either.
Yeah, this is yeah. I mean, Wyvern is optimally nuking at this point.
Yeah, and there's another reset. The value of a cursed ring and a slow anchor and a low battle speed. Wyvern standard time has become a kind of a new meme for that very reason. Turn that battle speed down and get those Star Veils up. Now, Eykir does have a Dragoon Spear, so we'll be able to dish out a lot of damage, but survival is the big issue here.
Unfortunately, he does have to re-kill the Asura. Not a huge time sink, but long enough at this point.
I feel kind of bad for Asura. This is going to be her 5th time getting killed between our 2 runners. Asura's having a very bad day. She's not beating our runners. She's just, the fall gal that they have to tear their way through first.
You see here, Eykir's like, okay, let me double check my agility. I need to double check everyone, see what I can do.
Here we go. There's the Cursed Ring coming out. There's Rose in the middle. Did we see a battle speed drop, though?
I don't think we did.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you are not, preemptively run buffering during those frames that the menu is popping up, you're not going to get all your Star Veils off here.
I mean, I get it. It's something that we really have to do, but, personally, as a runner, you feel bad anytime you have to lower the battle speed, because it feels like, you're admitting defeat a little bit. Like, a little bit of your ego has to come into it where you have to say, okay, I know I can't do this, so let's drop it down.
Yeah, we don't see a run buffer either, so I think we only get the one on that Yang. Yep. If you don't turn your battle speed down and you don't run buffer, you're just getting the one. And Battle of Attrition is again, battle speed 1? It's not a happy Battle of Attrition.
Well, Wyvern is not optimally nuking at this point in time. He might be able to get more than one person up at this point in time.
Yeah, there we go. Getting the nuke on the Yang really helped. And it is going into a Battle of Attrition, but Antidale has taken down the evil computer and will now also be in go mode and is now a step ahead of Eykir again. Had some trouble, but definitely handled this Wyvern a lot better. And now just has to do Twin Harp for go mode.
Oh, and that jump came.
Nice. So Eykir now and Antidale are going to be basically on fully even footing. Is Eykir going to walk out or go take the throne fight, though?
That's what I was saying earlier. I'm fairly certain he'll walk out, so he will not get the pass. I mean, that's what it's going to come down to, honestly.
Oh, yeah. The pass being on the throne, that makes a huge difference. Let's see. Are you going left or are you going to go up here? Oh, that is painful. Walking the Moon's about 3.5 minutes flight time. I think that's factored into that 3.5 minutes. Eykir, I don't think, has done the cutscene with the character on the lunar dais either. Eykir's going to need Antidale to mess up his Zeromus fight to bring this back. And it's real hard to mess up a Zeromus fight when you're going in with all the Zerkers.
Yeah, he's setting himself up at this point in time to be perfectly fine all the way through here. He's got 3 Zerkers. Uh, Antidale is absolutely in command at this point, but it's not free at this point. Any slip up, and Eykir is right on his tail.
Yeah, I completely forgot that Eykir had to get that Baron key from the basement. Sorry, chat. We're still waking up today. But walking the moon is still going to be a huge time loss for Eykir.
Oh, that's clever. Wait, what? There's a black chocobo at that forest?
Yeah, it spawns after you, I believe you have to enter the lunar well. I don't think Dia actually tested this one day, and it's not. Oh, hey, we have. Yeah, I think you have to step on the well. You don't have to fly it. You have to step on it. But I'm gonna shut up. It's Twin Heart time. Play those beats, DJ Spoony B. And we have an elements fight here. Not going to be too much trouble for either of these teams. But sadly, no Alt Gauntlet. I was so hoping for Alt Gauntlet. Just let that music play.
Such a beautiful rendition of this particular song as well. Artemis Bow, but that is 3 key items. We will be rewarded with our crystal. I mean, regardless of how everything has gone, it is an hour 50, and you're just now getting your crystal. What's going through your mind? Like, how tilted are you feeling right now, Ben, if you were these renders?
How's my opponent not done yet? How's my opponent not done yet? What happened to them? Why? Oh no, they're gonna finish. They're gonna finish. We're gonna have. I'm getting my hopes up, and they're gonna beat me by like 30 seconds. It's gonna be terrible. That's usually my thoughts when it's this kind of a late go mode. And that Artemis mode does mean if Antidale wants to do the cheeky quint, he's well equipped to do so. I believe he has 2 Artemis bows, and has at least 1 Artemis arrow remaining on Rosa. And mute arrows, I guess, for the other one if you really want to. Yeah, there's an Artemis bow. Oh, there's only the one. Dang. Where did Eykir get the other Artemis bow early? Do you remember?
I think of all the places that he went to, maybe Eblan Castle?
Flame Dog chest. Flame Dog chest.
Oh, yeah, that'll be it.
Sorry, Jeebus. I apologize.
Meanwhile, Antidale, yeah, making good use of that pass, warping all the way. And there's an important question that we have to ask right now. It's become a little bit of a popular question and a meme unto itself.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you all the backstory. You know we randomized the Z sprite, and if you randomize the Z sprite, we love to see who that beautiful booty that's gonna get scootied this afternoon. Whose butt are we gonna kick?
I I was too busy chuckling to myself. Whose booty are we gonna scooty?
And Antidale with the very nice Zerker setup.
Meanwhile, Eykir picks up a low-level Palom. Looks like he's going to be using that as his anchor.
Yeah, that does have a long road ahead of them. That pass at the Baron base, at the Baron main throne, making all the difference. Ironically, you know, Antidale coming to Earth, not back to Earth, not in full go mode, paid off immensely for him. He was able to get the pass, and then going back to Moon saying, I don't want to walk that anymore, and going top down, which in turn gave the, oh my god.
Threemus, yes!
Someone was asking the other day if there were any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villains in the Threemus pool. There's one for you. And we are off to the Zerker races. Triple Zerk on the main fighters. Cure 4 here for this Yang, who only has about 2400 HP left after the nuke.
You know, we were so confused when Antidale picked up double Yangs right before he went up to the moon. Now it's seeming like a pretty decent strat.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's fine. Either way would work out, but but again, it was just very surprising. Like, it definitely took me, it shocked me. We had seen 3 Stardust Rods in Antidale's game, 2 in the Treasury, 1 in the Eblin Cave. And yeah, it was very surprising, but it looks like it's going to pay off for him here.
Got the nerf off. The Yangs aren't doing too much damage because they're not equipped too well. Under 2k each, but between that and Edge, you know, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's enough damage. It's not the glorious damage of a Stardust Rod nuke spell, but it's okay.
It'll do.
And sadly, doesn't seem to be setting up the Quint here, just going for good old hybrid strats.
Meanwhile, Eykir actually realizing that he's probably needs to do a bit of a grind here because only his Yang has over 2,000 health.
Oh, and Eykir here doing a little bonus grinding. Does have the tools to make it go pretty quickly, but I think when you're an hour 55 minutes in, I feel like I would have a more drastic sense of urgency, especially against up against, you know, either of these racers. Both are so good that I would have no small amount of panic in my actions.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, you know, Antidale did his grind earlier. I don't know if I'd be comfortable going into this fight set up how Eykir is right now. He really doesn't have anything. Maybe after this one, maybe he'll finally get over 2k health with some of his bones. But yeah.
Looks to be cozy with that many levels. Running on down. Antidale takes a big bang, but gets the Cure 4 off and is looking pretty cozy here.
Yeah, really it's going to take a bad big bang roll at this point in time to stop Antidale. He's been doing fantastic this entire race, you know, despite, imagine this, he wiped to the Mad Ogres, he wiped to Wyvern. He had far from a perfect race. Absolutely felt tilted at various points, but is still going to pull this one out. Just an amazing race by Antidale at this point in time.
Oh yeah, we do
amazing.
have rocks falling, and there's the crumble. GG's out in chat for your winner, Antidale, bringing it back. We were so worried at some points here, just a few missteps, but the thing is that no one plays perfectly. Your opponent is going to misstep as well, and if you can capitalize and just eke out those small advantages, you can bring it home too. We'll see if we can get Antidale in here for a chat and see about some of those decisions he made during the race. And I believe that's him. Hey, Antidale, GG's.
Thank you. That was something.
So just on a personal evaluation, 1 to 10, how do you feel about your performance that race?
6 or so.
Gotcha. So from like a bird's eye view, what are some things that you think you're going to change and keep in mind? Because you're now 2-0, 1 more to go in your group. How's your practice, your planning? What are you going to do differently next time to try to bring that 6 up?
I mean, I'd really like to not make overconfident mistakes and wipe and have to go back and redo bosses. I think the call to go back to Earth after getting the tower key was a reasonable one. There weren't that many checks left. It pretty much got you half and half of available known spots, and I had to do Baron anyway, so I thought that was pretty reasonable. I was really happy to see the pan, and then really sad it didn't pay out. But just not wiping or being overconfident about some things is definitely a thing I need to do a little bit better on.
Gotcha. Another big question, the party comp change midway through the seed. You'd been given, all these Stardust rods. What made you decide, let me swap my Palums out for Yonks?
I didn't really feel like grinding them to nuke. I was hoping for a faster go mode on the moon, so the Yongs get you close enough faster than having to go all the way to nuke on Palom.
Gotcha.
They knew they'd be like with the Artie bow or the Artie arrow and a couple of hourglasses. The Yongs are going to be fine after 2 fights.
Oh yeah, perfectly legit. It was just the Stardust rods being like, nope. Like I was like, oh my gosh. Like it was really cool to see, and that makes perfect sense. Why go to level 52 when you can go to level 45?
Exactly.
Natasha, what questions you got?
Man, this was just so many other things going on with this race. You took several wipes. You wiped to Wyvern, you wiped to, the Mad Ogres when you were diving. Talk to me a little bit about your mindset as you're going through it. Did you feel like you got yourself tilted and you made some different decisions based on those wipes? And what did you change, if anything, with that?
Wyvern didn't really change anything. I immediately went back, grabbed the tower key again, and then took out Wyvern. I had to remember to find Star Veils. The Mad Ogres was kind of I'm probably not actually ready for doing this hook route, so let's just back out entirely, go see if we can get some worthwhile characters up in Zot. Maybe Zot has also something that I actually need, so let's go do that, see if there's something there. There wasn't particularly, although the edge was pretty nice. And then Antlion was just kind of rude a couple times, and I didn't want to throw the spoon at him, because I was really saving it for somewhere much later, which ended up being CPU, which was nice to have it still then.
And I'm sure everyone watching in chat will really appreciate it if, when you get some free time this afternoon, please find where that D-mist was that was gating the Adamant Rock.
Right?
And post that in race spoilers for us. I would personally love a ping. Race, chat kind of called it. They thought that before you left Earth, you were even going to go all the way down and check the boss in Sealed Cave. Didn't happen, but we were thinking, oh my gosh, package, Sealed Cave, Giant. I don't think either of you went to the Pale Dim or the Wyvern altars. Could be at one of those. So those are kind of your options, and we'd love to know where that Rude D-Mist was hiding if you get the opportunity.
Yeah, Eykir and I were talking about that after the race too, where we both saw it in the spoiler, and we gamed up what could have been worse, which would have been D-Mist with Harp, and then Harp having Adamant would have been just that wonderful bit of rudeness, but thankfully Neobardi didn't give that to us today, although I'm sure chat would have loved it.
Still a very vaunted moon. We've had a lot of seeds where, everything can be found on Earth, but 3 different, well, 2 at least, maybe a 3rd objective, all gated by moon.
Yeah, that was definitely the fact that Earth has been so valuable. Definitely drove me to full clear it before going to the moon, even though I kind of wanted to go to the moon earlier. Just wanting to maybe not have to come back or anything was definitely driving all those extra checks that I reside out of.
Gotcha.
I was also going to ask you, Antidale, talk a little bit, if you can, about your philosophy. You made some pretty early checks for Demist in things like Mist Cave and the waterfall cave. Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy in making those early checks? Knowledge over the time, and what's a good investment of time at that early part in the race?
I think if you route them in when you're nearby just for the info, it's pretty much worth it. Just also knowing where the boss is, like knowing I didn't have to worry about Odin, so I'm sure PK is sad, but then it meant I didn't have to think about a Thunderclaw very much. And then you check Mist when you after Baron just real fast, especially when you have a hook route, just in case. Again, the information's pretty valuable, and if you don't have to go too far out of your way for it, I feel like it's pretty worth it in a 1v1. In a multi-race, sometimes that's one of those, like, sometimes it pays off a lot, and sometimes you're just wasting time and giving up, like, half a check to somebody else. So it changes a little bit. I think 1v1s get you to a little bit less of a gambling mode that early, where you start gambling a little bit later once you're feeling the why isn't someone done yet. Like, it's an hour and a half, and I did not have a good beginning part of the seed, and had that wipe to Wyvern that sent me back a ways. So it's like, where's Eykir? Why isn't he done? What's going on? Which was definitely running through my mind the last 20 minutes of the seed.
Yeah, and Eykir has finished, coming in with a 2:03.21 neck and neck. The difference a pass makes, but wonderfully played, extremely close match. Great to see. Anadil, we'll give you your final thoughts here before we move on to Eykir.
It was a fun match. Eykir, sad that it wasn't even closer, that you didn't pull it out. And thank you, Inven and Vitisha, for doing the comms, and Neobari for doing the restream, and Smithy for clicking all the buttons. And thanks so much for just helping put this on. It's a lot of fun all the time.
GG's again, Anadil. Well played.
GG, Annadale.
And we have Eykir with us. Eykir, GG's.
Thanks. That was a fun one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how it went so back and forth, especially at the end. You both took some nasty tumbles to Wyvern, but the funny thing is that it was your play to not come back to Earth until you were in go mode that kind of cost you, because you had no reason to do the Baron Throne, and that pass cut down so much time for Anadil. It's weird how those tiny little things can just flip a race on its head.
What's the Baron Throne? I heard he had it. I didn't know where he got it from.
Yeah. So just because he was still looking for the Adamant at that time, so he cleared that Adamant or Twin Harp, hoping that one of them was there. Whereas you were great. You were in go mode. You knew where you were going, but it actually kind of bit you there. Overall, though, great race.
Had the pass.
Yeah. If you were to, what are you taking from this race going forward? What are some changes you intend to make going into your next match here in the Golem group?
I think my dip into Evelyn Castle didn't turn out well, and that cost me a lot of time. We'd have been much closer if I just skipped that completely and just gone underground. So I was thinking we're gonna have some terrible bosses going the hook route, and they weren't really. Yang being the worst one. I'm still not sure whether it's faster to walk out from the Baron throne room, or the where the Wyvern was, or to just go do the boss and go through the cutscene, because I thought you could exit out from there, and apparently you can't.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I think that it comes down a little bit to what bosses are left in your pool. Like, yeah, Golbez was not an option at that point. Y'all had seen him in Zot, so at least Golbez isn't there. But you hadn't seen Alt Gauntlet, right? And if you find an Alt Gauntlet there,
Right.
you're just going to be miserable and be like, oh no, I should have walked out.
I think that would have been the worst one left. Everything else that we saw that was terrible was gone, and we were high enough powered that all the little weaker ones just smashed through them.
Yeah.
So
Vitasia.
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, ask Vitasia if he had questions for you.
Well, it's kind of similar to what we were asking Antidale. You know, this seed was throwing mages and star rod veils and life staffs at your face really early on. What prompted you to say, you know, we're going to go ahead and pick up edges and yongs and go with Zerker strats at the end?
Good question. I didn't like the Dark Knight Cecil to start with because I was getting nothing for him, so I wanted to ditch him as early as possible. Getting the two Yongs early at Mysidia, I think that was. I knew I was going to keep one of them because high level he's really good and has all the HP in order to survive things at the end. Getting those two, well, we got two Stardust rods, I think, from that Earth Crystal treasury, and two good mage things. And it's been a while since I've done like full on mage strats, so I was a little bit leery of that. I did have enough good gear for Kane, so when I saw him up in was Earth Crystal, no, it was in the hook route. I wanted to grab him because I had Dragoon Spear, and eventually got a White Spear for him. So he was going to be my either egg killer or um, grinder on the moon. But I threw like two Palums, two Porums, threw all the mages at us, and yeah, I just wasn't comfortable keeping them because I haven't done mage strats in a while.
Well, GG's again. Very close match. We love seeing these close matches. I know it doesn't feel good to lose them, but you put on a heck of a show for us. Everyone had a blast watching you this morning, afternoon. Eykir, pardon me. We'll give you the last word before Vitasia and I wrap up shop.
Putting on the show is what we're here for, so I'm glad it was entertaining. It was 6.5 minutes, so that's not terrible. I'm just glad I did well. I haven't played in 2 weeks. I've been on vacation. So thanks, Invenerable and Vitasia for commentating, Smithy for tracking, and Nayobari for restreaming. I appreciate all the work that you guys do.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, chat, we have more Zima Zone 3 action coming up later today, of course, at 4 p.m. Eastern on RPG Limit Break, one of our partner channels. We will be seeing Baka Shinobi versus Commander Leonhardt. The puns versus podcasts.
That's going to be fun. I'm going to turn in just for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be real good. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern tonight, we have Gaming with a Wraith versus Neon Grey back here on the Free Enterprise channel. So more races this evening, and of course there's a whole bunch going on that aren't getting restreamed. Pop up a Khadgar or a multi-Twitch link. Get some good races here on this fine Sunday. And let's see if we have someone we're going to be rating.
Looks like Silverfire actually is doing some table practice, so we'll be on our way over rating Silverfire. Everyone, let's coordinate something. What are we all gonna say to Silver whenever we get over there?
Oh, yeah, that's too much effort.
fair, but thank you everyone for hanging out with all of us. Thank you once again to our wonderful team behind the scenes, Niobe for doing the restream, and Smapety for doing the tracking. Thank you so much. And Invent, it's always a pleasure to work with you, man.
You do, Vitasia, a consummate professional, and it's just really fun. These races are all so fun, and this one was especially interesting today. I'm glad we got up relatively early for it.
Always worth getting up early for Free Enterprise, and there's Free Enterprise all day too. So we'll see everyone at the next race, and have a good rest of the day.
Later, everyone.